We are privileged today that we have a historian. So I'm going to start this off. How in the hell did Karl meet Tamiki?
Okay, before I will answer my impression of that, I do have an answer for that. I will preface everything that I have to say with, take this all with a huge grain of salt, whatever opinions I might render. It's fantasies, hunches, educated guesses. Don't take it as gospel nothing, because all I've got is stories and relating to human beings. That's all we ever have. So the story I heard, I'll put it that way. The story I heard was Mr. Geis was working out, doing his judo thing with Mr. Osawa, Yoshimi Osawa, heavy dude. That's where our great foot sweeps, and that's where our light touch comes from. It's from the Osawa line. Sitting there in a big imbu, a big demonstration, and Tomiki and his crowd come out and start doing their thing. He's probably in the mid-50s, I would guess. And Mr. Geis, Karl, said, kind of leaned over, smart ass, oh, this is a bunch of shit. Something along that line. This is just complete hogwash, blah, 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 blah. And he said, Mr. Osawa just sat there like he always does. He sort of blinked a little bit and looked over at him and said, Geis-san, maybe you should take another look at that. And which meant he was suggesting Karl needs to go train with that and before he opens his fucking mouth. And Karl said, and he put his head down, he said, damn, every time the old man would give me a suggestion, that was like a commandment. And he felt obligated at that point, and he had to go do it. So that was the story I heard about how Karl first encountered Tomiki Aikido. He thought poorly of it. But Mr. Osawa knew better, and corrected his ways. So cool.
I just have a hard time believing that Karl would be that way.
No,
it was without historical precedent.
That was right. So I was on an airplane flight with Heather Gollick going to California. My wife and I were going to California. She was going back up to Washington. And we got to sit next to each other. And Heather started asking questions. And this vomiting of information came out of my head. And my wife at the end of the flight said, well, damn, you should put all that down somehow. And I said, I don't know what the hell I just said. But it was a bunch of history and technical and whatever the fuck. And there's tons of great minds that know more than I do in here at this point. But anyhow, if you're interested in whatever is stuck in my head, ask away. And I'll tell you what I can remember as of November the 11th or whatever the fuck today is. 8th, November the 8th of 2019. Yeah. So otherwise we can just play. Yeah, man.
First time you walked in a little place over on 16th called Windsong Dojo and met that guy.
Yeah.
What was your impression of him?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, I didn't meet him first. But I was 18 years old, and I had gotten out of the SCA, which is a crazy medieval reenactment thing. And I'd gotten disillusioned with beating the hell out of all my friends with sticks and then beating me every weekend. So I was looking around for something more realistic, and I'd gone to Jack Wong and seen the punching thing. And I read an article on Aikido in Psychology Today magazine my mom had laying around the house. And so I was driving down the street on 16th Street with a buddy of mine. I said, Aikido. I said, shit, stop. I got to get the schedule. So I got the schedule, came back that evening, and it was a class with Steve. Steve Duncan was leading Aikido class at the time. And I got to see kata, and it was like love at first sight. It was like, damn, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it looks real as hell, and they're flying through the air. And that's cool. And they wore skirts, too, like that.
You really, like, coming from, I don't know the word now, LARPing, I think is what that's called.
Yeah, you dress up in costumes and shit. They had their own costumes and shit.
And you fell in love with kata.
I thought the kata was amazing, but I could tell that they weren't just play acting hitting
Right.
each other. They were knocking the piss out of each other through the air. And I could tell that was real because it was boom. My old days, this is 1982. So kata did not look like a dancey airy fairy thing. Kata looked like boom, and people would fly and shit and land way over there. Yeah, right? I mean, I'm trying to be honest. It was pretty brutal. And it was obvious that it was powerful as hell. And I thought, shit, that's cool. I didn't meet Chuck until maybe a week into it or two, because you were starting to teach. Were you doing morning? No, you weren't doing morning yet.
Yeah, I had one student, Corey.
Corey. You were training with Corey, and it was a different time of day, and I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I got to be a fanatic and wanted to do every class on the schedule I could. And that's when we met, I think. And you were like super cool Supremo dude. Like something out of a movie.
Gandalf, yeah.
Damn. Chuck Caldwell lived in a fucking tent for a year in a teepee, right? A year? Just trying to get my story straight. To build the money up to open the dojo. That's the story I heard, yeah? And then getting to know him better was when I moved in and started living in the dojo. It's uchi-deshi time. I was hard times for you and hard times for me. And I'll just live here and I'll be uchi-deshi and we'll train all the fucking time and rah, rah, rah. It was crazy. It was amazing, but it was crazy. Yeah? There was no running water, there was no heat, no air. And this guy kept the door open, which I defy any entrepreneur in our crowd to go rent a commercial space, open a dojo, not have heat, not have running water, not have air. In the worst, it was gunfire every night in the neighborhood. Warring Vietnamese gangs that moved in. And it was insane.
Sometimes we ate and sometimes we didn't.
Yeah. There was a paranoid schizophrenic non-vet who was our best friend, who would come in from the blood bank down the street where he just sold his blood so he could buy us a burger. Yeah. My God. So it was best of times, worst of times kind of deal, you know? It was amazing. When I first moved in here, in the first few hours of occupying this facility, we had plumbing issues in a 60-year-old building. And things were backing up, and I was having to get plumbers, and it was a whole catastrophe. And we were about to have a party. It was the big party, because, hey, we're just moved in. And I remember getting that bucket and mop to clean up the floor. And I remember started laughing because, damn, we had running water. Which we'd had for many years by that time. But it was like, wow, okay, so the place has running water.
Trouble is, it fell in too many different holes.
Recognition, yeah.
So you don't think that if you had to explain to all your men that they got to pee in the alley and all the ladies got to go across the street to the gas station, it would have turned out so well?
I don't think it's a business model.
Right.
I think you take that to the bank and they say, no, we're not going to give you a loan. I think that's where you wind up right there.
Now, I believe that a lot of the ladies peed in the alley too.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it sure smelled like it.
Yeah.
That alley
It was
rancid.
something. It was a strange old days. But seriously, there was something about Chuck that impressed me beyond and above everything else, which was a sense of commitment like nobody else I'd seen in my life. Because it for whatever failures or foibles he might also embody, and he is well aware of them. By God, when he decided, I'm just going to keep this place open or it kills me, he did it like for 7 years at a time. Is that right? He did 2 rounds of 7, 1 round of 5, or am I getting that? He would commit for a chunk of time like nobody else I'd ever known. Because when it got shitty and it got bad and it was impossible and man, we're not going to make rent and we're freezing to death. And kerosene heat. I remember going down to get the kerosene to light that little dump. We had heat, and if you put the kerosene heater right here, and you stood about here, That was about it. Over there you were warm, and out here it was back to wearing. We had like woolen socks and caps wearing inside the dojo. Yeah.
I will add one little thing.
Yeah,
The
man.
very, very first class in that dojo,
Mm-hmm.
the mat was frozen solid.
The mat was solid. It was hard
So
in the
you
winter
didn't do
time.
any ukemi till the end of class after we had softened it up.
It sucked. It was a piece of wrestling mat on a piece of concrete in sub-zero temperatures. So it got really stiff.
We knew how to fall though.
Yeah, we knew how to fall. That's true. That's a little. We learned great falling skills for a particular context, and there's downsides to that context as well. But yeah, I know that we did learn how to fall under extreme conditions. Cool. So it's like